So in this video, I'm going to show you one of the most important things from chapter 2. So hopefully you notice that sometimes in programming you need to do a task over and over and over and over. And then when that happens, uh, it can be incredibly annoying because you have to just have code that repeats itself over and over and over. And one of the things that we want to stay away from in our programming is copying and pasting code just to make something happen over and over and over. We want to be efficient, all right? We want to do things that use the least amount of code but still accomplishes what we want to accomplish. And so what I'm going to introduce you to is what's called a loop. And a loop will do whatever is in its body as many times as you would like. You can control it. So this particular kind of loop is called a for loop. There are other kinds of loops, but as you see there, that is the key word for, which tells Java that this is going to be a for loop. So let's look at the setup for a for loop. The first thing is right here, this variable called I, and that variable I is what we use for the counter. I'm not sure why they use I, but it's just common to use I as your counter in your for loops. And then we have a semicolon that separates these three very important aspects to your for loop. So again, the counter is first, there's your counter, and then this is called the test. So every time it spins through the loop, every time it loops through this is the test. And if the result of the test is true, then the loop will continue operating. If the result of the test is false, then it will exit the for loop. So this is a very important control measure for your counter variable and for your for loop. And then lastly, you have your incrementing the variable. All right, so we're starting at 0. Every time we go through the loop, Java is going to add 1 to the variable, and then it'll conduct the test, and then if it's true, it'll keep going. If it's false, it will stop. So let's kind of keep track of what's happening here. So we get to the for loop, it declares the variable, and then the first thing it does is, okay, so I is 0. Is 0 less than 5? That is true. It is less than 5. So now it will go ahead and run what's inside the for loop here. Okay, and so basically all it will do is will print out whatever value I has at the moment, and then print a space to go with it. And so the first time we go through this, it'll print 0 and then a space. Then I gets decremented, and so then we go back again. So now I is 1. So is 1 less than 5? Yes. So now it'll print out 1 plus a space. Now the variable will get incremented again. So now we're at 2. Is 2 less than 5? Yep, it is. So then it'll go through and it'll print 2 plus a space. And now it'll increment again. So that's 3. So then 3, is that less than 5? Yep, it is. So it'll print out a 3 plus a space. And then it gets incremented again, and now we're at 4. Is 4 less than 5? Yep. So now it'll print out 4 plus a space, and now it gets incremented one last time because 4 plus 1 is 5. Is 5 less than 5? No, that is false. So then it will exit and it will move down outside, just below the for loop, and continue executing the code. Let's try and run this, and let's see what happens. We have a part of my code is showing you what happens when you don't configure the test correctly, and when that happens, your code will continue running. but I will show you that later. Uh, so that worked fine. I didn't successfully show it to you, but that worked fine. I will show you how you get stuck in a for loop in a little bit.